Welcome to the stream. Let's read an hour or so, maybe some more, maybe some less, of Higurashi here on this Monday before getting to Silk Song. Mind your ears. A pretty chill Monday overall. Can't complain. Probably the best, I'm gonna say it, the best Monday I've had. Actually, no. I was gonna say in several weeks, but I think we had like a Monday off like 2 weeks ago or something. Or a week ago. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. So I don't know what I'm talking about. Alright, so let's just read for a bit. And then we'll get to Silk Song. Continuing the week of Higurashi where we're reading at least a little bit every night. Or every day. Whatever the case is. Whatever time of day we end up streaming. Alright, so this is what was happening right before. Am I actually going to be able to see? No, of course not. We had gotten... Tomoe had gotten Natsumi to the hospital after her episode. And then we had Tomoe and we had some of the guys, the investigator, you know, chuckle fucks guys. Her right hand people. I think at some point they were like, hey, we can't be giving special treatment to these people, you know, she attacked you. And Tomoe's like, oh, I know, but like, I feel really close to her. I see myself in her a bit, you know, that's the whole thing. So Tomoe's like, I can't, like, I'm not gonna, like, press charges because, you know, can't do that. And they're like, Tomoe, Manai, Tomoe, and she's like, trust me, I'm the best. I'm like the best character we've had in several arcs. All right, so get off my back. get on my back. At any rate, I think your situation is better than it was before. So please try talking to her again. Oh, and I think also towards the end, I think what we're gonna see here, it was Tomoe was speaking with Natsumi's mom, and Tomoe was basically like, though even the way you're talking about your daughter kind of sucks, and I can tell that you just want to foist blame onto her, and you come in with guns a-blazing, and you didn't really ask if your daughter is safe and okay. You just asked what she did wrong this time, and that let me know that you're a shitty mom or something. And the mom was like, la gasp, I can't believe this random lady clocked me. And Tomoe is like, I fucking hate you, but I can't get like mad, explosively mad at her because who am I? But also like, this fucking mom. And I'm like, you know what, Tomoe? You tell her, you tell off this mom. We're a mom. I think throughout, I'm trying to think, how many moms have we seen in this game? In the whole of Higurashi? We've seen Natsumi's mom recently. We know of Keiichi's mom, who, on the record, I don't like the parents of Keiichi Maibara. We've seen Mion and Shion's mom, who I'm actually very high on, so that's a win in the mom column for Higurashi. But generally, I think moms, I've got bad things to say about the moms in Higurashi. I'm trying to think, what other moms am I thinking of? Do we not have a lot of mom representation? Moms? Mothers? There was Reina's mom, and she sucked. She caused a lot of family distress and ended up leaving the husband, Reina's dad, and that whole thing, right? That was bad. And then there are a lot of dead moms that we don't really, I mean, technically, I think we got like flashes of like Rika's mom at some point. Satoko's mom. I think we got flashes of Satoko's mom, right? Flashes of Satoko's mom before the incident. Yeah. Just, you know, lots to say about moms.
大丈夫。今度はちゃんと相談に乗ってくれるはずよ。
I'll be alright. You'll be able to get through to her this time, okay?
それでもしダメだったら、また私に相談して。ね。
And if that still doesn't work, feel free to come talk to me again, alright?
はい。
Yeah. That moment, Natsumi noticed the bandages wrapped around Tomoe's neck and the back of her hands, and she remembered the incident that caused it in the park. At the time, she was desperately clawing at her throat, but Tomoe jumped into harm's way in order to protect her. And then... Tomoe-san? Oh my goodness, Oh, this?
いや、私って疲れがすぐ肌に出ちゃってかぶれる体質なのよね。
Actually, I have a condition where I develop rashes on my skin when I'm overly fatigued.
おかげで夜気がつかないうちにボリボリかいて傷だらけになって。
Thanks to that, I scratched myself in the middle of the night, and before I knew it, I was covered in scratches. What a lie.
嘘です。
That's a lie.
それは私が。
I'm the one who did it.
やってない。
No, you didn't.
あなたは何も
You
や
didn't
って
do
い
any.
ない。
You didn't do anything.
私が証言してあげる。
I can attest to that.
本人が言うのだから、これ以上確かなものはないでしょ。
And since the person in question is the one telling you this, what more proof do you need? It's like a gaslighting for good type situation. Good job, Tomoe. With the smile disappearing from her face and donning a serious expression, Tomoe looked directly at Natsumi and repeated again more clearly.
ともえさん。
Tomoe-san?
悪夢を見てうなされて暴れることは誰にだってよくあることよ。
It's normal for anyone to act violently when they're having a nightmare.
私も決して寝相がいい方じゃないしね。
I can never say I get the best sleep myself.
あなたは公園で倒れてうなされてちょっとだけ暴れた。
You passed out in the park and went on a bit of a rampage while having a nightmare.
でも私を含めて誰も傷ついていないし夢は覚めた。
But nobody was hurt, including me, and you were able to awaken from that dream.
それで終わり。おしまいなの。
That's all. It's over.
妹を守るのは姉の務め。
It's an older sister's job to protect her little sister.
そういうこと。
Right?
だから退院したらまた今度エンジェルモートでケーキでもおごってもらおうかな。
So after you're discharged from the hospital, what do you say to grabbing some cake at Angel Mort again? Don't let Tomoe back into Angel Mort. Tomoe had a brilliant smile on her face as she said that, while slowly running Natsumi's bangs through her fingers. It was a nice, gentle warmth. But with the smell of disinfectant solution emanating from those bandaged hands, she couldn't suppress the feeling of heartbreak inside her. Thought there was gonna be more. Tomoe-san, I... Natsumi leapt from Tomoe's arms, sobbing and wailing as she did. She was delighted. She was ashamed, frightened, horrified, grief-stricken, and frustrated. But she was sorry, thankful, and happy to be accepted the way she was. Natsumi just clung to Tomoe for a while, sobbing, her thoughts and feelings overflowing.
落ち着いた？
Have you calmed down?
はい。
Yes. Natsumi firmly nodded, whilst wiping her bright red eyes with Tomoe's handkerchief. Her voice was faint since she'd been crying for so long, but it finally felt like the tension had been released, so Tomoe felt relieved.
ともえさん
Tomoe-san?
何
What is it?
聞いてもらいたいことがあるんです
There's something I'd like to talk to you about.
私のこと嫌いになっちゃうかもしれないけど最後まで聞いてくれますか
You might hate me by the end of it, but will you listen the whole way through?
ええいいわ
Yes, of course.
嫌いにならなくてもいいって条件付きならね
But you'll have to accept the condition that I won't necessarily hate you in the end.
ありがとう
Thanks. And then, Natsumi began her story. It was largely the same as what she had heard from Natsumi's mother, but of course the urgency and seriousness had a remarkably different tone. Natsumi was originally far more introverted. She preferred reading books at home over playing with friends. It seems that started because her parents got upset with her when she had fun with others. You got your clothes dirty. You're making trouble for others. After that, she began keeping her distance from her friends, and they started teasing and bad-mouthing her, so she became more and more isolated. And Natsumi's environment was getting more and more terrible around the time she moved on to middle school.
前にもお話しした小学校の時のあだ名座敷わらしを中学校でも誰かが最初に言い出して
I told you before about the nickname I had in elementary school. Zashiki Warashi. Even in middle school, it was the first thing someone called me.
それがクラス内での私の呼び名になりました
And it became the name everyone in the class called me.
別にそれだけなら無視していればよかったんだけど
If that was all it was, I could have just ignored it.
たまたま国語の教科書の中に妖怪の髪の毛が幸運を招くって話が載っていて
But we happened to be reading our Japanese textbooks one day. There was a story saying that a ghost's hair brings good luck. Zashiki Warashi's hair brings good luck. It was completely baseless and absurd, but the story got the class excited, so one of her classmates came over half teasing to cut Natsumi's hair. Oh, Jesus. Even as a joke, for someone like her who took great pride in her hair, it was absolutely terrible. So she couldn't stand it and shouted "Stop!" while violently smacking away the hand of the kid holding the scissors. She used too much force, so the scissors were thrown from the kid's hand and ended up cutting into the arm of another nearby student, which caused an uproar in the classroom. The girl's face distorted in pain and terror as soon as she saw the blood on her arm, and the female students watching began shivering. The male students surrounding the area were absolutely stunned to see that level of bloodshed for the first time, and Natsumi stood there shocked in the center of it all, with her mind completely blank.
私がハサミを持って暴れてその子の腕を切ったって職員室に呼ばれました
I was called into the teacher's office for violently cutting some kid's arm with scissors.
親も呼び出しを受けました
They called my parents to tell them too.
私じゃない悪いのは相手の子だって何度言っても全然信じてくれませんでした
No matter how many times I tried to tell them it was the other kid's fault and not mine, they didn't believe me.
不良だとか乱暴者だとか言われて叱られてなじられて
I was scolded and reprimanded for being a bad, violent person.
その後その子が謝りに来てくれたんだけど今度は誤解される普段の行いが悪いって
After that, the kid did come to apologize to me, but didn't understand that their everyday actions were just as bad. As a result, Natsumi refused to go to school and holed up inside her room. How could her classmates look at her if she went to school? She was confident the boys would badmouth her again, and the girls would keep their distance to avoid getting involved. The teacher probably wouldn't be able to set aside earlier doubts and might regard her as a problem child. She was scared just imagining it. School was no longer a fun place for Natsumi. Her parents were initially in a hurry to get her back into school, so they have violently forced her to go. Jesus, but every time she'd collapse in the middle of class with a migraine and throw up, causing a huge commotion, more and more her classmates and teachers would stare at her and regard her as a problem child. Eventually, just mentioning the word school was enough to make her feel dizzy and faint, so the school advised her to seek counseling.
お医者さんからは貧血症だって言われました
The doctor told me I had anemia.
それで私
Almost said amnesia.
何度かの検診を受けた後で大きな病院を紹介されてそこで私 この病気に効くからと薬を勧められたんです。
So after going through several rounds of medical exams, they brought me to a big hospital, where I was advised to take medication for my illness.
大きな病院ってゴグラの？
A big hospital? The one in Gogura?
はい、
Yes.
その薬とってもよく効いて、
And the medicine worked very well.
今まで学校のことを考えただけで気分が悪くなったのに、飲むと元気になれたんです。
Even though I would feel sick just thinking about school, I felt all better after taking it.
それに嫌なことがあったり、体がだるい時にもすぐに良くなって、
And even when I was having a bad day and my body felt listless, I'd be able to feel better right away.
それに服用回数以上に飲んでも大丈夫だからって言われてたから、つい頼るようになって。
They also told me it would be okay to take more than the recommended dose, so I started relying on it. Oh yeah, that's a real good thing to do.
あとは
Yeah, tell the kid to
友江
take
さん
too
のご
much
存知の
medicine.
通りです。
After that, well, you already know the rest, Tomoe-chan.
こ
Her
の
son.
薬を飲みすぎてから、なんだか自分じゃない自分が私に話しかけてくるようになって。
When I took too much of the medication, somehow I found another version of myself talking to me. Natsumi didn't care much at first, because it only crawled out of her consciousness when she was sleeping and having a nightmare. But slowly, over time, she was able to hear the voice even when she was still awake. And the result was what happened today.
私、ほんのさっきまでその子に体を乗っ取られていたんです。
That girl had taken over my body.
夏美さん。
Natsumi-san.
信じてもらえないかもしれません。
You might not believe me,
だって私、自分のしでかしたことをありもしない悪魔のせいだって言って逃げようとしてるようなものだもの。
because it sounds like I'm running away, blaming everything on some demon and saying I didn't do anything wrong.
映画じゃないのに、小説のお話でもないのに、
This isn't a movie.
すごくバカなこと言っていますよね。
This isn't a movie or a novel, yet I'm saying something so stupid, aren't I?
でもその子、私の本当の心を暴き出してくるんです。
But even so, that girl is my true heart revealing itself,
みんな壊したい。
wanting to destroy everyone,
みんななかったことにしたい。
wanting everyone to be gone.
気に入らないこと全部消して、邪魔するやつはみんな殺して、そして
Wanting everyone to be gone, erasing everything I don't like, killing everyone that gets in my way, and
いいのよ。
it's okay. She wrapped her hands around Natsumi's trembling hands, transmitting the warmth of her palms, to which Natsumi replied by continuing to timidly look away. Tomoe had a gentle smile on her face, and then she gave another firm nod to Natsumi, who was biting her lip in hesitation.
辛かったんでしょ？
It must have been really tough, huh?
だからもういいのよ。誰だって怒りたいこと、やけになりたくなることがある。
Then it's fine now. Everyone has times when they want to be angry or give in to despair.
でもそれを恥じなくてもいい。
But that's not something to be ashamed of.
そうしたくなったら私がいつでも聞いてあげるから。
If you're ever feeling that way, I'm always willing to listen to you.
何度でも言うわ。
I'll say it as many times as it takes.
私はあなたが大好き。
I love you.
いいところも悪いところもひっくるめて、あなたのことを本当の妹みたいに思っているわ。
Think of you as a real sister with all the good and bad that comes with it.
だから私の前では何も構えなくてもいいの。
So you don't need to put on airs in front of me.
いい子でなくてもいいの。
You don't have to be a good girl.
むしろもっとわがままになって悪い子になって私に面倒を見させなさい。
In fact, you could stand to be a little more selfish, to be more of a bad girl, and even make trouble for me. Be a bad girl. Be a bad girl, Natsumi. Okay? Be a bad girl. That made her upset, apparently.
おかえりなさい、夏美。
Welcome back, Natsumi.
ただいま
I'm back.
ただいま。
I'm back, sis. There's like a weird small part of me that's like, I quickly didn't think too much of it or anything, but like we've seen since like a stream or two ago of this that like this like the push for Tomoe to be like, oh, like I regard you as a sister, and I think it even went the other way as well. Natsumi looked at her and was like, I've never had a sister, and you know, can you be like my older sister kind of thing. And there was like a small part of me that was thought like, I'm sure, I don't know exactly how I was gonna link it all, but I was like, I'm sure on Tomoe's end that seems really important because of obviously it's mending, but the strained relationship that she had with her own sister, her own actual biological sister, or whatever. And I was trying to think like, is there any, probably, it probably will not go this way, and it probably wouldn't have gone this way if it really did, like, the meeting of this happen. But like, I wonder if like, if the real sister, excuse me, I'm choking up. If the real sister, like, I don't know how else to put it other than like, oh, caught wind or something, but like, would she be like, oh, fucking, you're, I ended up not saying, because I'm like, no, that's silly, but like, you know, there was a small part of me that's like, damn, like, what if in a world, like, imagine a universe where like, or imagine a fragment, if you will, where like that relationship between the real sisters didn't like mend or improve or something. And then like you had like Tomoe being like, oh yeah, you're like the sister I never, I didn't have, or I don't know. I was formulating some way of trying to like say it in my head, but like at the very least, it's interesting to see like this thing again, initiated mostly on Natsumi's end, but like, oh, you're just like a sister to me, I love you just like a sister kind of thing. And we know in the past that like, that Tomoe and her sister had strained past, due to reasons and stuff, but I don't know. I just all found it slightly interesting. Natsumi tightly squeezed Tomoe's hands and sobbed. It's okay for me to be here. It's alright to go on living. Right, sis? As if to answer that question, Tomoe gently stroked Natsumi's head. For that, she was glad. Even if everything she had were to disappear, she was sure that... Natsumi! Oh, Chisato. Uh-oh. Then, all of a sudden, the door to the hospital room violently swung open, and then, girl charged in with her face pale and the braids in her hair coming unraveled. Chisato-chan? Natsumi! She must have run the whole way down the hallway because huge beads of sweat were running along her forehead and harsh breaths were constantly spilling from her mouth. Chisato, was that the girl Natsumi described as her best friend? Remembering the name, Tomoe began to speak up, offering the girl her seat to let her catch her breath. Oh? Huh? For a moment, Natsumi and Tomoe were frozen in place with their eyes open wide in shock. Uh-oh. Chisato steadied her breathing, then ran straight toward Natsumi with an angry look on her face and slapped her cheek hard. Then... You idiot! You total moron! Alright, please leave the room, Chisato. Shouting loud enough you could easily forget this was inside a hospital, she forcefully dove into Natsumi's chest, pressing her face right up against it, her shoulders shaking and her voice cutting out. Natsumi's hospital gown quickly became soaked in dribbling teardrops, and her tightly clenched chest was being wrinkled. Natsumi ignored the pain in her cheek and gazed at her sobbing best friend. She hardly felt any pain from the slap. Instead, the shock made her mind go completely blank, and she couldn't think of anything to say. Then, Chisato suddenly raised her head to look up at Natsumi. Though Tomoe was standing right beside her, Chisato saw nothing but her best friend.
だよ。
Why? Why didn't you talk to us?
こんなになるまで、こんな心がおかしくなっちまうまで、なんで何にも言ってくれなかったんだよ。
Even though things went this far, even though your heart was running wild, why didn't you talk to us?
佐藤ちゃん。
Chisato-chan?
私はあんたの親友じゃなかったのか。
I'm your best friend, aren't I?
あんたと私、タマコも入れて3人。
You, me, Tamako, the three of us?
もっともっとお互いの心を分かり合えるくらいに仲良くなろうって約束したのは何だったんだ。
We made a promise that we'd always get along and try to understand the thoughts inside each other's hearts, didn't we?
あんたは私のことそんなに信用できなかったのか。
But you were this unwilling to trust me. Despite still crying and her face being wet with tears, Chisato's sharp gaze was enough to make Natsumi awkwardly turn away. As soon as Tomoe noticed, she tried to pull the two of them apart, but Chisato pushed her away and then spoke vehemently.
私がどれだけ
Do you have any idea?
あんたのことを心配したか。
Do
あ
you
ん
have,
たにわかるか。
do you have any idea just how worried I was about you?
学校からいなくなった後、いろんなやつに声かけて手分けして探し回って、
After you left school, I talked to all sorts of people and we split up trying to find you.
もしかしたらやけになってとんでもないこと考えるかもって今の今まで必死だった。
I was worried you might do something desperate and I was thinking about it the whole time right until this very moment.
神様にだって祈ったさ。
I even prayed to God.
あんたが無事でいてくれって心の底から願い続けてきたさ。
I've been wishing for your safety from the bottom of my heart.
そしたらあんた警察に保護されて病院になって。
And then the police came to help you and brought you to this hospital.
ごめんなさい。
I'm sorry.
謝るなよ。
Don't apologize.
私はあんたに謝ってほしいんじゃない。
I don't want to hear an apology.
ただ私はあんたが無事で、それから
I just wanted to be sure you're safe, so then... After that, there were no longer any words. Just Chisato feeling relieved and glad to learn that Natsumi was safe. The fact that she yelled at her and suddenly slapped her must have been the flip side of how desperate she'd been. That's how it felt, so Natsumi couldn't feel resentful over being slapped. Yeah. She felt sincerely sorry for making her worry. And more than that, she felt thankful.
バカ野郎、言ってくれればよかったのに。
You moron. Wish you had said something.
気に入らないことがあったら私のことでも何でも言えって約束したじゃないか。
Didn't you promise that if something was bothering you, you'd tell me no matter what?
こんなになるまで黙ったままで。おバカ野郎。
And yet you kept quiet until all this happened. You total idiot.
佐藤ちゃん。
Chisato-chan.
千里さん、夏美さんのことも分かってあげて。
Chisato-chan, please try to understand Natsumi's circumstances.
彼女は
She...
知ってるよ。
I know all that!
夏美の病気のことくらい。
I know about Natsumi's illness. Huh? Natsumi suddenly gasped, and her face hardened as she turned toward Chisato. She was still crying, and there was sobbing in her voice as she spoke, but she placed her hand on top of Natsumi's.
あんたがおばあちゃんと一緒に私のところ病院、佐伯病院に通ってることずっと前から知ってたよ。
You've been coming to this hospital, Saiki Hospital, together with your grandmother, and I've known it for a long time.
ただの付き添いだってあんたは言ってたけど、私見たんだ。
You said you were just accompanying her, but I saw it.
見るつもりなんてなかったけど、あんたが精神科で診察受けてるとこ偶然。
I saw you undergoing a psychiatric exam, but I didn't mean to see it. It was a complete accident. Flashback. Really, it was just a coincidence. I just happened to head up to the hospital rooftop to kill some time until my father finished a meeting, and on the way back.
あれ
Uh-huh. Just her standing there. As I stepped down the rooftop staircase and out onto the floor, I noticed the back of a familiar hairstyle down the end of the hallway, so I followed her. And of course, I knew it was Natsumi, so I was about to call out to her, as bright as always, but when I suddenly saw the sign posted on the wall, I choked down my words and kept quiet, because the department listed on the label there said psychiatry. It was then that I remembered the top floor of the hospital was a psychiatric ward.
なんで夏美が精神科に？
Why is Natsumi in the psychiatric ward? I shook the suspicions out of my head, but honestly, at the same time I was half worried and half curious. So after Natsumi finished her exam, I had the doctor on duty show me her medical charts on the pretense of asking if I could help her in some way. Huh? But I came to horribly regret that decision as soon as I learned the contents. I felt ashamed of my shallowness for making light of mental illness. I told myself over and over I'm supposed to be the daughter of a hospital director. Natsumi's medical condition was far more than mere stress and anxiety. It was a serious, weighty mental disorder.
何この病名？
What is the name of this illness?
よく読めないけど、ドイツ語？
I can't quite read it. Is this in German?
ああ、簡単に言ってしまえば不安神経症のようなものですよ。
Right. To put it simply, it's like anxiety neurosis.
大勢の人がいる中で突然不安を覚えて、動悸やめまい、息切れを起こして過剰な恐怖感に怯えるといった症状が特徴です。
It's characterized by sudden anxiety when surrounded by a large number of people, along with palpitations, vertigo, shortness of breath, and excessive levels of fear. The symptoms are often found in people who face unreasonable expectations or are forced to work beyond their limits. It's especially serious when the person in question has an earnest personality because it makes treatment difficult.
ですが、一般の方々は心の疾病に対しての認識がとても低い。
However, the general public has very little awareness of mental illness.
消極的な言動を見ても、気合が足りないとか、難局を乗り越える心が弱いとか、すぐに精神論を振りかざしてしまいます。
Even though the subject may recognize their dispassionate speech and conduct, they might feel they're not good enough or too weak to overcome their difficult situation, so they're immediately turn their way of thinking around.
その結果、本人がその兆候を感じても口には出せず、誰にも相談できないまま、病状はどんどん悪化していく。
As a result, the subject won't be able to speak out about it, even when they feel symptomatic, so the medical condition will grow worse without proper consultation.
彼女もずいぶん悪くなってからやっと病院に来たそうで。
Seems this girl finally came to the hospital after the situation got especially bad.
完治には相当な時間が必要ですね。
It'll take a considerable amount of time for a complete recovery. When I heard that, I finally understood why Natsumi continued acting like she felt threatened and seemed anxious about something all the time. It wasn't just about her personality or the environment she grew up in. It's because she had deep psychological wounds in her heart. And the doctor said it was because she was subjected to bullying in her previous school. Natsumi. My chest tightened, and pain crept up my back. Even though she was suffering from her painful past and this illness, she kept on acting bright and cheerful, without showing us any of it, carrying that burden alone. Just like my sister Kaori. She never showed any pain or any signs to make me worry. She just really loved me. Even up until the moment her condition took her last breath, she truly believed in me. And yet, I couldn't do anything for my sister. In fact, I ended up betraying her trust. Right then, I decided I'd become a true friend for Natsumi. No matter what happened, I'd be on her side. And I swore to myself that this time I'd never abandon the people I love. Yes, sure, this is the redemption God sent me for the sin I committed so long ago. I abandoned Kaori. I should have been able to save her, but I couldn't do anything for that girl. But now, I can. I can't support Natsumi until she's healthy again. I might be making some big assumptions here. And really, I have to wonder if this is what Natsumi even wants. But even so, it's fine. Rather than look back and regret what I wasn't able to do, I think it would be better to look back on the things I've done to bring her happiness.
だから、私はあんたが幸せな気分になって、少しでも病気の回復になればって、アキラの応援もした。
So, I was rooting for things to go well between you and Akira, because I thought it would help you overcome your illness even just a little.
そのために手助けできることなら何でもやろうと思った。
I was willing to do anything I thought might help you.
私がアキラのことをどう思ってたかなんて、あんたが笑ってくれるのなら本気でどうでもいいことだった。
My feelings for Akira didn't really matter as long as it meant you'd be able to smile. Oh man. Even though she was already faintly aware of it, Natsumi was stunned to hear Chisato directly speak about her feelings for Akira, so she froze. She couldn't take the statement that it didn't really matter at face value. If the roles were reversed, she never would have been able to accept that, no matter what came in exchange. It was so much determination and resolution, and her friend was doing this for her sake.
だから、アキラが夏美と一緒に南沢へ行くつもりだって聞いたとき、絶対に止めなきゃって思ったんだ。
So, when I heard that Akira was going to Hinamizawa with you, I felt I had to stop it.
あんたにとっていい思い出のない場所だと知ってたし、そこで病気が悪化したら、それこそ目も当てられない。
I knew you had no good memories of that place, and going there might just make your illness worse, so I couldn't bear to watch.
だから、
So I...
南沢ってさ、結構変な噂があるんだ。
There are some pretty weird rumors about Hinamizawa.
だから行くのはやめておいた方がいいんじゃないかな。
So I thought it'd be better if you didn't go there.
変な噂ってどんな？
Weird rumors? Like what?
たたりだよ。
There's a curse.
なんていうか、毎年綿流しの日に犠牲者が出るって。実際にここ数年本当に亡くなっている人がいるらしいんだ。
For some reason, there are victims of the day of Watnagashi every year, on the day, and I fear that people have actually died for the past few years. I told Akira that, passing on the story I heard from Mamoru-senpai, even though I only half believed it. But I figured that would be the best way to make Akira feel reluctant to go to Hinamizawa.
けど夏美はそんなこと一言も。
But Natsumi didn't say a word about that.
言えるわけないじゃん。
Of course she couldn't say that.
自
Say
分が
it.
そこの出身だって言ったら、自分も得体の知れない連中の一味じゃないかってあんたに思われるかもしれないじゃないか。
She was worried if she told you she was from a place like that, you might start to wonder if maybe she was one of them.
それくらい察してやりなよ。
Try to understand what she was thinking. Natsumi couldn't even admit that she was bullied in her former town. There's no way she'd be able to tell Akira she was suffering from mental illness. This was Akira. Finding out about something like that would probably break his heart even more than Natsumi's and leave deep wounds. Plus, she didn't want her boyfriend to know about her ancient secrets. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing, but that is a very funny sentence there. I love that. Plus, she didn't want her boyfriend to know about her ancient secrets. Ancient secrets. I love it. But even so, no, precisely for that reason, I thought I had to stop the two of them from going to Hinamizawa. What if Natsumi ran into some old friends there? Or what if seeing the Hinamizawa scenery triggered some terrible old memories? Natsumi would be experiencing the stress that gave her this illness all over again, and she'd probably keep acting like it was all okay, all for Akira's sake, enduring an even heavier burden in the process. So in order to keep that from happening, I tried to stay calm like usual and act like I was just joking around, while desperately trying to make Akira consider going somewhere else instead. But thinking back on it now, there's no way Natsumi could overhear something like that and not walk away thinking I was trying to slander her. That's why I was running all around the city until just a little while ago, cursing my rashness and negligence, wanting to at least apologize to Natsumi.
そんな
No way.
そこまで私のためになんで
You went that far for me? Why?
ああ、
Yeah, that's right.
つくづく偽善だよ。自己満足だよ。
I was being completely selfish and hypocritical.
いつものように勝手に暴走して、親切の押し売りみたいなものさ。
I was acting out on my own, trying to force my kindness on others like I always do.
でも私はあんたに頼られる友達でいたかった。
But still, I wanted to be a friend you could rely on.
私のことを大好きって言ってくれたあんたに私も好きだってことを伝えたかったんだ。
You said you loved me, so I wanted to be able to show you I loved you too.
だけど言葉にしてそのことを言えなかった。
But even so, I couldn't put it into words.
だって言えばあんたは今のようにどうしてって私に聞くだろう。
Because even so, I couldn't... Oh, because even if I did, you just end up asking me why, just like you did right now.
そしたら私は夏美の病気のことを知ってるってあんたに打ち明けなきゃいけない。
And then I have to tell you what I knew about your illness.
そしてあんたの過去の話だけじゃなく私の昔の失敗も全部。
And then it wouldn't just be about your past, but my old mistakes too. Everything.
そんなのできなくて。だから。
I couldn't do that, so... There was no way Natsumi would be pleased to learn Chisato already knew the secret she was trying to keep hidden. And just like Natsumi wanted to keep her past and her illness hidden, it was painful for Chisato to remember her little sister Kaori. If she actually told Natsumi about it, Natsumi might despair, wondering if she was just a sort of replacement for Chisato's sister. Or she might have scorned Chisato for acting so nice up until now when she'd done something so terrible. And even when you know something, sometimes pretending you don't know can certainly make you happier. So she didn't want to ruin things. No matter how guilty or ashamed she felt, Chisato wanted to protect the pleasant environment she and her precious friends shared, where they were able to peacefully chat and help each other. No matter what, she had to protect it.
佐藤ちゃん
Chisato-chan?
ごめん夏美。
Sorry. I'm sorry, Natsumi.
謝るのは本当は私なんだ。
I'm the one who should be apologizing. Really.
あんたの友達でいたくてあんたに好きだって言ってもらえた関係壊したくなくて。
I wanted to be your friend, and I didn't want to destroy our loving relationship.
それなのに私のバカのせいであんたを逆に追い込んで苦しめて。
And yet, because of my stupidity, I ended up pushing you into a corner instead and made you suffer.
そんなことない
That's not true.
そんなこと絶対
That's not true at all. Natsumi gently placed her hands on Chisato's shoulders and shook her head. Right. If she was in pain, she should have spoken up about it. Even if she couldn't do that, she should have honestly expressed at least some of her doubts.
どうして千里ちゃん私のためにここまでしてくれるの
I do wonder, are we near the end of this arc? If we're having like what seems to be like the happy moment here, we're not gonna like dip back down into despair or something, are we? Are we actually closer to the end of this than I thought we were? I'm like waiting for... I'm like, oh man, is something else bad gonna happen? Chisato-chan, why are you doing so much for me?
千里ちゃんアキラ君のことは好きじゃないの
You like Akira-kun, don't you? But she could never ask about it. She kept quiet and pretended not to know. And her reason was the same as Chisato's. Nozomi was afraid of ruining her relationship with Chisato.
ごめんごめんなさい
Sorry. I'm sorry.
私こそ自分のことばっかりで千里ちゃんの傷に気づいていなかった
I was only ever thinking about myself, so I never noticed your wounds, Chisato-chan.
千里ちゃんは私よりも恵まれてきっと何でもできるから私とは違うって
I thought you were... But I thought you were so much better than me, that you could do anything, so you were different from me, but... Chisato was exactly the same, suffering from the scars of her past, and trying to escape from them, even up until today. If only she had properly accepted it.
今日からでも間に合うかな
At this point, Is there still time?
遅すぎるってことないかな。
It's not too late, is it?
千里ちゃん、
Chisato-chan? Huh?
私の友達でいてくれるかな。
Would you be my friend?
いっぱい抱えてきた私の悩み聞いてもらえるかな。
Would you be willing to listen to me go on about all of my problems?
ずっと苦しんできた千里ちゃんの悩み、
Yapping, as the kids say these days.
私が聞いてあげることできるかな。
And all your troubles, too? Would you be willing to share them with me?
つみ
Meanwhile, Tomoe is just like looking at this, like tearing up. Natsumi! Natsumi! The two of them shed tears while tightly embracing one another, as if to restore their earlier bond through a hug. Upon seeing that, Tomoe quietly made her way out of the hospital room and gently closed the door.
よかったね、夏美さん。
Thank goodness, Natsumi-san. The two of them still had many difficulties and walls that they needed to surmount. Especially Natsumi's illness, which is nowhere near as easy to deal with as it sounds. It will certainly take a long time for her to recover.
でも
Even so, there was nothing to worry about. They didn't need anything at all, because they were friends who sincerely trusted each other, who could understand one another's past scars and provide whatever encouragement they needed. We've only been reading for like 45 minutes, but we're getting such a clean cut here. Dare I just press on for like 10 more minutes? Because that's closer to an hour. Might as well. Just barely get into this next little section here. Just as Tomoe was about to reach a stopping point in her work and thinking about going out for lunch, Yamaoki suddenly called her in.
お呼びでしょうか、所長。
You need something, Chief?
まあ、かけたまえ。
Yes, well, have a seat.
失礼します。
Thank you. Thump. Yamaoki was standing by the window and, on his prompting, Tomoe took a seat on the sofa. There was a beautiful potted orchid sitting on the reception desk, giving the room a lovely aroma.
あの子ってこういう花とか土いじり昔から好きだったしな。
That girl always loved gardening and flowers like these. Tomoe gently touched a drooping bundle of flowers while thinking that. The soft and silky smooth texture of the petals immediately brought a smile to her face, but seeing Yamaoki from behind across the room, she readjusted herself and began to don a serious expression. And this is my impression of a gust of wind. Yamaoki gazed out the window and smoked a cigarette with his back still turned toward Tomoe. Sensing the uncomfortable atmosphere, Tomoe lightly loosened her collar. This just felt like the situation half a year ago.
また移動の話か。
Is this another transfer discussion?
でも今は所長にその権限はないはずだし。
But the chief shouldn't have any authority over me at this moment. In which case, did someone make a protest or file a complaint against her? Or maybe this is a reprimand? So many thoughts were running through her head, she wouldn't be surprised no matter what came of it.
随分とずぶとくなったものだ、私も。
I've gotten a whole lot more brazen. Thinking that, an impulsive laugh welled up inside her. When she was sent away from Kakuichi and pulled off of detective work, she was seriously thinking about retiring thanks to the disappointment and tragedy she endured. But not even a hint of that sentiment remained today. If this was a similar request to resign, it wouldn't be too late to die fighting. Thanks to that open-minded way of thinking, Tomoe was able to broaden her horizons and achieve peace of mind.
待たせたな。
Sorry to keep you waiting.
さて、本題に入るか。
Now let's get to the point.
はい。
Right. So, what was coming? And how should she react to it? This was Yamaoki. He was probably expecting Tomoe to be shocked or to shout. In which case, maybe it would be more fun if she quietly accepted whatever it was. Tomoe couldn't help but giggle as those wicked thoughts came to mind.
ん？どうかしたかね、ミナイ君。
Is something wrong, Minai-kun?
いえ、別に。
No, not really.
すみません。ご用件は何でしょうか。
Sorry, what was it you needed from me?
実はな。
The truth is... Yamaoki cut himself off there, then picked up the bundle of clipped-together documents on his desk and held it out to Tomoe. Tomoe respectfully accepted it. Without saying a word, she turned over the cover and read the text, but her composure until just a moment ago was completely blown away, and her eyes were open wide in shock.
何ですかこれは。
What is this?
正直君に頼むべきかどうかは少々迷ったのだが、もはやそうも言っていられなくてな。
I must admit I was feeling a little lost about if I should ask you this, but I can't say that's the case anymore.
で、これがその代物だ。
So, here it is.
だからってこんな。
Come on, this is... She was quivering. Then, Tomoe's shoulders shuddered when she saw the pile laying on the desk. You can't ask me for something like this! Tomoe slammed the documents down hard enough to make the potted plant shake, and finally cried out. Spelled out there in old-fashioned messy lettering were words like wedding and announcement. And right beside the documents were two massive piles of postcards. No way, dude. In other words, he was asking Tomoe to do calligraphy work, writing invitations for the wedding and the reception. And of course, there was no need to say whose wedding it was. What's worse, the note at the end that said, "Clean copy, please," circled in red pen further aroused her bloodlust. This fucking guy. And more importantly, what's with this date? I did agree to you and Madoka getting married, but isn't this way too soon for the ceremony? No matter what you say, it's way too early.
とはいえ、6月に式を挙げた者はジューンブライドといって、幸せの象徴だそうじゃないか。
But by having a ceremony in June, it makes her a June bride, which is well regarded as a symbol of happiness, is it not?
今を逃すと、来年まで待たなければならん。
If we miss this opportunity, we'll have to wait until next year.
ついでに、大安の日が取れたとあっては少しは無理をしてでも、ぜひやるべきだと考えてな。
Incidentally, we've already missed the opportunity to have it on a lucky day, so I feel that even if it's overdoing it a bit, it's still worthwhile. This isn't overdoing it a bit, it's going way above and beyond. It doesn't matter how much you want a June bride, it's already June! The wedding is less than a month out. It was impressive that the people involved in the ceremony could accommodate that. Considering the timing, there was no need for them to accept a customer demand like that. In fact, they wouldn't even be blamed for rejecting it as something outright insane. No. Wait a second. Could it be? Did Yamaoki use his position with the police to pressure them into it? He wouldn't go that far. No, I wouldn't put it past him. After all, last time he was suspected of accepting gifts, he shut the whole thing down by saying, "I am the rulebook." He didn't quite invoke the name of God, but just saying that is beyond rational. Words like ethics and common sense are simply deleted from the dictionary when it's convenient. That was how the man named Kaoru Yamaoki operated. Why did you bother with making your own invitations in the first place? Doesn't the wedding venue have copy staff you could ask to do this for you?
いや、案内状の作成は自分たちでやるというのが式場側の出してきた条件でね。
Oh no, one of the conditions specified by the venue was that we create the invitation ourselves.
せめてこの程度の情報はやむを得なかったのよ。
After all, some concessions that kind are unavoidable.
かといって外部の業者に委託すると費用もバカにならんしね。
But bringing in another contractor just to do the work would incur ridiculous expenses. Don't you agree? Can an old man who lives in a mansion really be that stingy? Plus, even if you and I are cordial in the line of duty, in private we're more like mortal enemies.
一体何を考えてるんですか。
It's just what on earth are you thinking?
おいやま
Oh, is that so?
しかし君は私たちの結婚に賛同してくれたとまどかくんが。
But Madoka-kun said you agreed to support our marriage.
賛
That's
成し
fucked
ても
up.
積極的に応援したつもりはね。
Even if I support the marriage, that doesn't mean I'm cheering it on. She was howling like a tiger so fiercely that her voice slipped into her dialect. No good, Tomoe. Why did he have to go so far pouring salt in the wound? It was like he was sprinkling it on to purify something.
そもそも相手側の親族に案内状の筆行を頼むか普通。
Besides, is it normal to ask the bride's family to write the invitations? With blood running to her head and feeling a little dizzy, Tomoe barely held back the hostility bordering on murderous intent. Was he that lacking in common sense to suggest this idea? Or was he intentionally harassing her? Or maybe both?
いやそれにしてもよく一見して内容を読めたものだな。
Even so, take a good look at this writing.
私の字は暗号並みに解読が難しいともっぱらの評判で、まどかくんでも相当苦労して読み解くというのに。
My handwriting is so difficult to decipher, it's like it's written in code. Even Madoka-kun had a hard time understanding it. Oh, the classic, like, oh, I can't do this thing, I'm so bad at it. I can't do this thing. Oh, I can't help clean the kitchen, I'm so bad at cleaning the kitchen. Oh man, I can't do this thing.
少しは恥に思え。
Try to be at least a little embarrassed.
大体それだけ自覚があるのなら前々から編集時でもやって改善させればいいじゃないですか。
If you're that aware of the problem, wouldn't you be better off investing the time to improve your penmanship in the first place?
いや私も常々そう思っているのだがね。
Well, I've always thought about that.
いつもなんとなく後回しにして近いうちになんて考えてるうちに突然必要な時がやってきてご覧のありさまだ。
But somehow it always got put off, and it only ever comes up at the moment I need it.
言い換えるなら後の祭りアフターカーニバルってやつよ。
In other words, by the time I need it, it's already too late. It's the after carnival phenomenon.
くだんね親父英語やめろって。
Stop with the terrible English, old man.
本気でいじゃげるんだっぺが。
Playing dumb is seriously pissing me off.
とはいえどうも世間は文字が綺麗かどうかで知性の有無を問う傾向が強くってな。
However, there's also a strong tendency across the world to make assumptions about one's intellect based on the beauty of the writing.
仮にも所長である以上この低たらくではかなえの傾聴を問われかねん。
Being the chief of the station, that may cast doubt on my capabilities.
でそんな感じでもってどうしたものかと考えていてちょうど君のことを思い出したわけだ。
So, I was wondering what I could do about that, and that's when I remembered you.
君は書道一級
You took calligraphy and made it to the first level.
いや二級
No, was it second level?
まあそれでなくとも最近はワープロ打ちも達者と聞いているしな。
Well, even if that wasn't the case, I hear you become a master of word processing lately.
ダメかね。
Would it be so bad?
書道は2段です。
Yes, I made it to second level in calligraphy.
つかそこでダメかなんて聞く前にもっと根本的なことを心配しろ。
And before you go around asking things like, would it be so bad, you should start worrying about some fundamental things. The blood vessels on Tomoe's forehead were about to burst, and her fists were raised in the air and shaking. However, Yamoke dismissed her rage-filled voice with a calm expression and handed the documents on the reception desk. On the reception, I think there's an added 2 there that shouldn't be there. Documents on the reception desk over to Tomoe once again.
まあこれは軽い前振りとして本題は次のページからだ。
Well, that was just a light introduction, but the main subject is on the next page.
若い女性にはときめく写真ばかりで目を奪われるかもしれんが見てみてくれたまえたまえ。
I understand that a young woman may be stunned by the flashy photos, but please take a look.
は
Huh?
って婚約指輪まで私に選ばせる気か。
You even want me to choose the wedding ring? Behind the blank paper was a thick stack of colored pages that needed to be cut out of a booklet, and there were so many colorful photos of vibrant rings and glittering jewels. And what's more, just because they had the words engagement and wedding attached, the design and the price were over the top. Tomoe's heart was racing so fast it felt like she was going to faint from rage.
いや私もね、最初は自分で選ぼうとは考えていたのだよ。
Well, at first I was thinking of choosing for myself.
だがどうもまどか君はアクセサリーの好みが結構うるさいようで、高価なものであってもあんまり喜んでくれんのよ。
However, Madoka-kun can be rather picky about the accessories she likes, so she won't be happy just because I got her something expensive. I need Tomoe to kick this guy's ass.
それで
Kick his
ね、
ass!
ここは一つその思考をよく知っている身内に聞くのがベストだと。
So, I thought it'd be best to consult with a relative familiar with her tastes.
バカにしてます。
Are you mocking me?
やっぱり私をおちょくってるでしょ、所長。
I knew it. You're making fun of me, aren't you, Chief?
八つ咲きにしますよ、本気で。
I'll seriously tear you limb from limb, alright?
心配しなくてもいい。
No need to worry.
君も欲しいものがあれば手数料代わりにできる限り面倒見よう。
If you see something in there you like too, consider it a commission fee. I'll see what I can do to take care of it.
好きに選びたまえ。
Choose anything you like.
いるか。
Seriously?
あんたにもらうくらいなら工事現場で拾ったナットの方がよっぽどマシです。
I prefer a nut salvaged from a construction site over a gift from you.
お、そりゃいいな。
Oh, that's fine then.
そして僕は死にませんとか言って結婚を脅迫するのか？
And then you'll run out into the road and shout, I won't die, to threaten our marriage?
告白です。
That's a declaration,
脅迫って言うな。
not a threat.
意味合いが全然違ってくるでしょうが。
The implication is completely different. There's not even a hint of romance in this conversation. It was headache-inducing. A ring being given from a man to a woman has a special meaning in the first place. Didn't matter how expensive or what brand it was. There was no way she could accept something like this. However, though still feeling enraged, she turned her eyes towards the catalog once again, and she felt just a little fascinated by the radiant jewelry. Though she didn't have a man in her life, Tomoe was in fact an ordinary woman. She couldn't quite say she wasn't interested. However, she continued to have old-fashioned ideas in that regard, so she still yearned for someone to give her a present like that.
指輪か。
A ring, huh? Tomoe had never been in a deep enough relationship with anyone to receive one. She always rejected the opportunity in order to pursue her own goals. Still, there may come a day when she's achieved her purpose, and then she might finally encounter an opportunity like that. Although, she wasn't confident that day would ever actually come.
とりあえずまどか君の気に入りそうなものはこの中だとどれどれどれ？
Anyway, which of these do you think Madoka-kun would be most interested in? This one, or this one?
教えてくれたまえ。
Please, tell me.
知りませんよ。
I don't know.
目つぶって適当なの選べばいいでしょ。
Maybe you should just close your eyes and pick one at random.
バカモン！
Preposterous!
真面目に選ばんかい。
Take this seriously and choose one!
テレスケ。
You goddamn moron!
真面目に選べか。
You seriously want me to choose? This back and forth exchange was like a comedy duo. But strangely enough, was it showing signs of growth that the unpleasant hostile feelings were no longer flaring up like they used to? Or was it a project of compromise? Even Tomoe herself wasn't truly sure. Well, I'm good we can go from the deep discussions about mental illness and the friendship and not wanting to disrupt that friendship and, you know, all that, you know, serious topic to a very quick little back and forth ha 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 he he moment between those two. Old man and Tomoe. We'll call it there. There we go. That's an hour. That's about an hour of reading. I'm gonna just take the quickest of BRBs. I'll get Silk Song set up, and then we'll do that for the rest of the night. So I will be back very shortly tomorrow on stream for the Higurashi heads. Should just be Higurashi. So we'll do a true Higurashi Tuesday stream tomorrow. So be back very shortly.